What makes us happy? Teachers in our schools and care home staff today are having to deal with what seems to be a rising tide of children displaying a range of what they refer to as challenging behaviour. So school staff are sent on managing challenging behaviour and physical intervention courses to teach them how to react to such behaviours. And in the current economic climate, business owners and company managers are having to look at more and more cost-effective ways of generating profit whilst reducing overheads, in addition to managing their workforce and coping with the need to meet key performance targets. So they send their overwork management on time management courses and their distressed staff on stress management courses in the hope of managing such needs. In addition, every person in our now ever-developing world is having to deal with a constant never-ending influx of emails, texts and mobile phone calls that seem to eat up any spare time we have. And all this, if not checked, can lead to overexhaustion and burnout. Paradoxically, we all get caught up in this cycle because we all want a better quality of life for ourselves and our family. And we want that for one basic reason. We want to be happy. Therefore, the real questions are A, will all of this make me happier? And B, what actually is happiness? Does having more money make us happier? You've probably heard it said that money isn't everything, and that is true. However, ask anyone who lives on the minimum wage or who lacks the basic means of being able to support themselves and their family, and they will tell you that having more wealth would mean a better quality of life for them. The fact is, if we choose to live in a world where our basic medium for buying our essentials is money, then it would seem to follow that the more money we have, the more we can acquire. And if this is true, then the more we have, the happier we become. Let's face it, we all know how difficult it can be for a parent when their children want the latest fashion accessory that they see their friends at school with because they don't want their child to be seen as different or picked on or bullied. Yet to meet this need means we need money. Therefore, from a very young age, the link between monetary wealth and happiness is forged. And this link continues and is strengthened throughout our lives when we consider the link between words such as retail therapy, where the connection between shopping and happiness is now in everyday use. So if we follow this line of thinking, it would seem that the more money we have, the more we can buy, and so the happier we should be. Yet this is the really interesting bit. It appears that beyond a relatively low threshold of wealth, the level of satisfaction remains unchanged even as income continues to rise. Between 1949 and now, for instance, income in the developed world has increased twofold, while the number of people who declare themselves as very happy has decreased. As Richard Layard of the London School of Economics states, we have more food, more clothes, more cars, bigger houses, more central heating, more foreign holidays, a shorter working week, nicer working conditions, and above all, better health. Yet we are not happier. If we want people to be happier, we really need to know what conditions generate happiness and how to cultivate them." Unquote. Yet despite the increase in material wealth and conditions, depression is now 10 times as prevalent as it was in the 1960s and is now affecting an even younger decoy of the population. 40 years ago, the mean age of people succumbing to depression for the first time was 29. Today, it is 14. In the US, suicide is a cause of 2% of deaths worldwide every year, which ranks above war and murder. Suicide triggered by bipolar depression, once called manic depression, is the second leading cause of death among teenage girls and the third among teenage boys. And in Sweden, suicide among students has risen 260% since 1950. Also, between 1950 and 1980, recorded crime rose 300% in the United States and 500% in the UK. And although the crime rate has declined significantly since then, it still remains much higher than it was 50 years ago. And this is despite the fact that society's external conditions of well-being, improved medical care, increased financial income, access to education, leisure time, have improved continuously. So what does all this mean? In short, what it means is that all external factors, such as wealth, health and beauty, only account for as little as 10 to 15% of happiness. Yet, as we have already seen, in many industrialized nations, economic prosperity is directly linked with and equated to happiness. The continual struggle to have more money, a newer car, promotion, more desire to have a bigger and better house, more holidays, nicer friends are all impulses driven by the link between economic and personal prosperity and the delusion of happiness. In addition, in the race to be seen as successful in modern times, we must be seen to be busy. Our days are a deluge of phone calls, texts, emails, Facebook requests. In short, the technology we have produced as a human race to make life easier is actually making life more difficult. And there is another problem with all of the links between economic prosperity and happiness. They are all in the main based on external conditions such as friends, family, our society, our job, our financial status. This then adds another dimension to the equation. People who have all these things worry about losing them or suffer when they no longer exist or are taken away. The reality is that true happiness cannot be left to the arithmetic of material and external conditions or stimuli. Therefore, seeking happiness by pegging our hopes and aspirations on our financial and material situation and by attempting to improve these positions is like polishing coal in the hope of turning it into a diamond. The reality is, true happiness is not found in external sources. External sources only give us pleasure, and pleasure is different to happiness. If something gives us pleasure, then that pleasure is short-lived. For example, many people who are unhappy think that they can find happiness in sexual activity or alcohol or in drugs. However, that is not true happiness. It is only pleasure, because as soon as the sex is over, or the effect of the alcohol-induced state is diminished, or the drug is worn off, people return to a less than happy state. In short, the addiction to their external thing that gives them pleasure means that they actually become addicted to their emotional state, which means they need it more. So the cycle of abuse continues. True happiness is different. It is an internal phenomenon and is found within us. That means that we have an infinite source of happiness that is on tap whenever and wherever we need it. It is independent of where we are or who we are with or what we are doing. But how can you learn to become happier? Well, the most effective way of generating happiness is by learning to calm the mind. And the most effective way of doing that is through meditation. What meditation does is provide us with a means of accessing our inner ability. And to do this, we need to shut out the outside world. And when we do this, we can become calmer and more compassionate. In addition, this mental practice has amazing physical results. The ability to control our breath has a significant impact on the hardwiring of our brains. We can literally rewire our minds into a new way of being, and the impact of that on our well-being and health is astonishing to say the least. It is now scientifically proven that meditation makes us healthier, reduces the risk of stroke and heart disease, improves our immune system, makes us more considerate and compassionate, and all this combined makes us more capable of dealing with what life throws at us. And what the research studies into meditation have shown is that after a relatively short period of time, we are no longer reacting to our environment, but controlling it. What used to cause a reflex upset no longer does so, so we become better at responding more appropriately than simply reacting to what is presented to us. If you are seriously interested in improving your health, well-being, and even your financial status, in being able to control your world as opposed to having it control you, and you are interested in learning how to meditate, and even learning how to teach others to meditate, then join us on our next NLP Practitioner, Hypnosis and Meditation course. See you there, and thank you for listening.